Welcome to the session. Today we will understand one of the many facets of Swami Vivekananda, the political ideas of Swami Vivekananda and how those ideas actually influenced Indian society at that time. First of all, we will get into a brief introduction. Swami Vivekananda had tried to bring this Vedantic philosophy to the mass. This was the main feature of Vivekananda's work all over around the world. He do not bring something new, but he tried to establish something in a newer way. He opined that the first step in getting strength to be upholding the Upanishads and believing in themselves. If I will tell you the literal meaning of Upanishad, then we can say Upanishad is like a tool to understand the Vedantic philosophy, because Vedas are so complex in nature and they have such a high standard of thinking that until and unless you do not understand the basis of life, you do not understand the basis of soul, you cannot understand Vedas, and those tools are Upanishads. Okay, Swami Vivekananda was a key figure in the 19th century spiritual revival in India, and he was also of the opinion that spiritual revival is the key for other type of development of Indian people. He has also been considered to be a spiritual leader without a relation to politics, yet we can say he was the first Indian patriot to inspire the political ideologies of revolutionaries against the British government. First of all, you have to understand that this is a phase-wise process. First of all, a country, the people of suppose a country is under a colonial rule. Then what is the phase-wise development to attain the freedom? First of all, there will be some people who will get influenced by the ideas of the people of the countries to which they are under. Like Raja Ram Mohan Rai in 1828, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, Swami Vivekananda. These people belongs to the 19th century. Raja Ram Mohan Rai belongs to the period prior to 1857. So how he attained that awareness that I should do something for my country. And if you look at the works of these people, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, the works of Brahma Samaj, Arya Samaj, Swami Vivekananda, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, you will understand they were not revolutionaries, but somehow they were influencing the ideas of their people so that the future revolutionaries can born. They can understand that we are under a colonial rule and that is a like of curse for us. Okay, so the same here, the ideas of Vivekananda actually influence the ideologies of revolutionaries who stand against Britishers. Now I will quote a famous saying from Vivekananda: truth does not pay homage to any society, ancient or modern. Society has to pay homage to truth or die. Societies should be molded upon truth, and truth has not to adjust itself to the society. It means that suppose a society accepts something, whether or not, if that particular practice is wrong, that will remain wrong. No matter how long that ritual or practice carry on, but that is wrong. Same the case with Sati Pratha or Bal Vivah in India. So Sati Pratha and Bal Vivah almost stretches for a period of 200 to 300 years in India. But whether that was correct? No. Even those practices were established as a part of the society, but those were not the good practices. Somehow Indian culture overcome to that, and that is what Swami Vivekananda provided. That truth will always remain truth, and societies are supposed to develop themselves over the truth. Now we will understand some political ideas which are, we can say, not available very easily because Vivekananda has not been read in that way. So you will focus here. Although Vivekananda never participated in politics in a narrow sense, but that does not mean he had no political ideologies. In an article published in, as per the content of the article, Madras Times. Now what he said, I will read the verbatim here. The great national sin is the neglect of the masses. Now here we will understand the concept of democracy was propounded by Vivekananda. That is one of the causes for our downfall. No amount of politics would be of any avail until the masses in India are once more well education. He pointed out the education as the basis of the development. Well fed and well cared for. Well fed, he was addressing the problem of hunger, he was addressing the problem of poverty. Because he was a philosophical thinker more, that is why he explained the terms not in economical terms, rather in some spiritual sense. Okay, and the caringness for all the people, it means all the people should have rights in society and a sense of equality and part of a decision making process. So this statement clearly establishes the political ideas. As I already told you, he was not a pure political thinker. He was not an economist like Dadabhai Nauroji or R.C. Datta, who defined the problem of colonial in terms in their own way, like in economical way, like with the drain of theory, or the leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, or we can say leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru or Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. These leaders were influenced by Vivekananda, and they were somehow providing an economical or sociological or political explanation to the ideas of Vivekananda. So that was the height of the thinking of Vivekananda, that even in the period when no Indians were at such a high position, he was called for that convention on religions in Chicago, where in 1897 that famous speech came along. Now the sociological perspectives of Vivekananda's thinking. This is very important for you to understand. The ideas of Vivekananda cover almost all aspects of socio-political development. Upholding nationalism. Until and unless one do not feel proud to be a citizen of a country, he cannot perform his duties well. And until and unless you cannot perform your duties, you cannot enforce your rights. This is also the idea of Mahatma Gandhi. When Mahatma Gandhi was asked about the United Nations Convention on Human Rights, he says that one cannot ask to enforce his rights until and unless he performs his duties. However, in the Constitution of India, this idea do not uphold, and the rights have been given much more importance over the duties. Duties are not even enforceable in the court of law. So that is a different matter. Implementation of Vedantic system of education. Vivekananda thought that Vedas have all the solution of human problems. So their philosophies should be upheld, but you have also remain careful that Vivekananda was a staunch supporter of scientific temperament, and he was also very much of the opinion that sports should be given much more priorities. The stadiums should be given much more priorities over building temples. So this was the ideas of Vivekananda. Achieving social justice and a system of equal opportunity. This is how somehow have resonance with the rights of equality, rights of opportunity, and other sort of rights that those are propounded in the Constitution of India. So you can say that the whole political development of India during the first half of 20th century, or we can say up until now, the ideas of Vivekananda are much more relevant. Steps towards socialism, particularly achieving the concept of spiritual socialism. This has also some resonance with the ideas of Lohia and Jayaprakash Narayan, who talked about socialism, but their socialism was not someone like the socialism of Russia or other countries. Their socialism was people. Look, socialism is a very complex issue, and the people who are responsible to establish socialism, like the leader of the country, if anyhow they do not have that purity in their soul to establish the socialism in its whole sense, socialism cannot at all be established. Okay, socialism, the concept of socialism and Marxism, they are very pure concepts, and either they are as a whole or they are not at all. That is a problem with these two ideas, and that is why we can say, because they are the future of whole political scenario of the world. But right now, in the current scenario of the world politics, we can say the leaders or the masses or the capitalists do not have that purity in their ideas so that they can achieve the socialism. That is why the Indian thinkers provided an alternate idea of socialism. Rather than an economical socialism, they provided for a spiritual socialism, and they hope that that spiritual socialism can ultimately lead towards other sort of socialism. Okay. Development of marginalized classes like Dalits and untouchables, steps towards socialism. His ideas, writings and speeches strongly influenced the development of modern socio-political framing of India. As I already told you, many features of Indian constitution somehow uphold the ideas of Vivekananda. Many developments after that also have some influence of Vivekananda's thinking. Talk to yourself once in a day. This is an individual advice by Vivekananda to all learners. Talk to yourself once in a day, otherwise you may miss meeting an intelligent person in this world. So we can say with this quote, Vivekananda established the importance of every individual, that how important you are for yourself. So that's all for the session, friends. Thank you.